Sue Kai wins big at Tencent Starlight Awards 2025, a night that made history. The city lights of Beijing burned brighter that night, but none shone as fiercely as Sue Kai when he stepped onto the crimson carpet of the Tencent Starlight Awards 2025. It wasn't just another celebrity entrance, it was his moment, and everyone in the crowd knew it. Just months earlier, the man had been wrapped in personal storms, the whispers about his relationship with Tan Songyun, the media firestorm after their daughter's birth, and the sudden wave of public curiosity after Sue Kai's family gave Songyun a priceless home as a gift. And yet, here he was, walking into one of the biggest nights of his career, not as a man weighed down by scandal, but as someone who had somehow turned every challenge into fuel for triumph. The entrance that stole the night. The moment Sue Kai's black and gold tailored suit caught the light, the cameras went mad. His look was sharp but regal, the gold embroidery on his jacket rumored to be hand-stitched over 300 hours, a quiet nod to both tradition and prestige. Behind him, Tan Songyun arrived later in the evening, draped in a flowing ivory gown that whispered elegance with every step. Though they didn't walk the carpet together, a move likely made to keep the press from turning the night into a relationship spectacle, fans caught fleeting glances of them exchanging smiles from across the venue. The internet erupted instantly. Did you see the way he looked at her? Forget the awards, this is history. A night of unexpected firsts. The ceremony began with its usual glamour, flashing lights, perfectly scripted speeches, but when Sue Kai's category was called, the atmosphere shifted. Best Actor of the Year, Sue Kai. The applause was deafening. Some said it was louder than any other winner that night. Sue Kai stood up, his jaw tightening as he walked toward the stage, clutching Tan Songyun's gaze for half a second, just long enough for her to mouth go. When he took the trophy, his hands trembled, but not from nerves. I've been told that this industry is about the climb, he began, his voice carrying through the hall. But I think it's also about who stands beside you when the lights go out. The audience went still. Everyone knew who he was talking about. He didn't stop there. This year, I became a father. I saw the world differently. And I was reminded that no matter how high the mountain, you need a place and a person to come home to. This is for my family. The camera cut to Tan Songyun, and even though she tried to maintain composure, the moisture in her eyes betrayed her. Backstage magic. While the official ceremony went on, what happened backstage was what truly made the night unforgettable. A crew member leaked that as Sue Kai stepped behind the curtains, Tan Songyun was waiting in the wings. She didn't rush into his arms. Instead, she handed him their daughter's tiny mitten, which she had tucked into her clutch. She couldn't be here, Songyun whispered with a smile, but she's still holding your hand. Sue Kai reportedly broke into tears, pulling Songyun into a brief, fierce hug before security hurried them apart to prevent too much media attention. But of course, a blurry, dimly lit photo of that hug surfaced within minutes online, and it became the most shared image of the night. A twist that nobody saw coming. Later, just as the event was winding down, Tencent's stage director announced a special recognition award, a category that hadn't been given in years. And when they called Sue Kai's name again, the crowd roared in disbelief. The award was for excellence in artistic integrity, an honor given to actors who had not only delivered groundbreaking performances, but who had shown resilience and grace in the face of public and professional challenges. In his second speech of the night, Sue Kai took a pause before speaking, visibly moved. "This is not just mine," he said. "It belongs to the people who believed in me when the world thought I was finished. It belongs to her." And with that, he looked straight at Tan Songyun, his eyes unflinching, the kind of gaze that said 1,000 things no microphone could capture. The moment that broke the internet. The afterparty was glittering with champagne flutes and whispered deals, but the highlight came when Sue Kai was spotted outside, away from the cameras, sitting on the steps of the venue with Tan Songyun. He had taken off his jacket and draped it over her shoulders, shielding her from the cool night air. In one hand, he held both of his trophies. In the other, hers. It wasn't an actual award, but the golden baby rattle their daughter had been gifted months ago by his mother, something he apparently carried for luck. A passing fan caught the scene on video. The clip, only 11 seconds long, showed him leaning towards Songyun and saying, all of this is so our daughter will know she comes from love." The video reached 12 million views in less than a day. Why this night will be remembered. The Tencent Starlight Awards 2025 will go down in history not just because Su Kai walked away with two of the most prestigious honors of the night, but because he managed to make the event about more than himself. He turned it into a celebration of resilience, of quiet strength, of love that doesn't need grand declarations to be real. The night was proof that the man once shadowed by controversy had emerged into the light, and that he wasn't walking alone. For the first time in a long while, the headlines weren't about scandal. They weren't about speculation. They were about victory. And for Su Kai and Tan Songyun, that might have been the sweetest one of all. The golden glow of the Tencent Starlight Awards 2025 hadn't dimmed even after the cameras moved on. Su Kai's victory wasn't just a professional milestone, it was a moment in time that seemed to slow the city's pulse. The hallway before the win. Minutes before his name was announced, Su Kai had been pacing quietly in the shadow of the backstage curtains. His right hand gripped the edge of the awards program so tightly the corners were crumpled. To most, he was the picture of poise, tall, collected, ready for whatever the night had in store. But up close, you could see the tremor in his fingers. It wasn't fear of losing, it was the weight of everything that had brought him there. The endless nights of filming away from Tan Songyun during her pregnancy, the swarm of cameras when they first brought their daughter home, and the strange pressure of carrying both a career and a private life under constant scrutiny. Then, just before the category was announced, someone lightly touched his arm. He turned, and there was Tan Songyun, half hidden by the curtain, breaking protocol to stand by him for those few stolen seconds. She didn't speak, didn't even smile. She just looked into his eyes and mouthed, "You've already won." That was the moment his heartbeat steadied. The win that echoed. When his name was called, he felt the noise before he heard it, the applause thundering through the soles of his shoes. Walking toward the stage felt like wading through light itself, the spotlight so bright it blurred everything but the glint of the trophy waiting in the host's hands. He accepted it with a nod, his mind still replaying Tan Songyun's silent encouragement. The applause died down, and for a breath, the hall felt as intimate as their living room at home. That's when he decided this speech wasn't going to be for the industry, it was going to be for them. His voice didn't crack, but there was an undeniable warmth when he said, "To the people who've walked with me when the lights were off, thank you for giving me reasons to turn them back on." The pause before the second award. After his win, Su Kai was ushered into the green room, where past winners were interviewed. Flashbulbs kept popping, but he barely heard the questions. His thoughts were still tethered to the audience, to the woman in the ivory gown who had once held his hand through moments far darker than this glittering night. Then a stage assistant rushed in. "You need to stay close," she whispered. "There's something else." He didn't know then that something else meant a second award, one no one had predicted. The Special Recognition Award had been dormant for years, but in that moment, he was about to revive it. When his name was announced again, the shock on his face was genuine. This time, as he walked up, he let himself look at Tan Songyun fully. She didn't clap like the rest. She simply nodded, her eyes telling him, "You earned this twice over." The backstage moment that broke the internet. Between the two speeches, he found her again in the wings. She had something small in her palm. Without saying a word, she placed it in his hand, their daughter's tiny mitten. "She couldn't come," Songyun said softly, "but she's still holding your hand tonight." Su Kai's throat tightened. He didn't care that crew members were watching. He pulled her into a brief hug. In that split second, the world shrank to just the two of them, the muffled sound of the ongoing ceremony fading into nothing. Later, when a blurry fan shot of that hug made it online, it became the most reposted moment of the entire award season. People didn't just see an actor and his co-star. They saw a father, a partner, and a man letting his guard down in the middle of a public whirlwind. The quiet step outside. When the afterparty began, Su Kai slipped out through a side exit. Awards were supposed to be celebrated under chandeliers, but he found himself drawn to the cool night air instead. Moments later, Tan Songyun joined him. "You're supposed to be inside," she teased, her breath visible in the cold. "I am," he replied. "Right here." He draped his jacket over her shoulders, the same jacket that hours earlier had dazzled the red carpet. In one hand, he held his 2 trophies. In the other, he kept that tiny mitten, rubbing it gently between his fingers as though it were a talisman. A fan across the street caught the scene on video, the trophies glinting under a street lamp, the 2 of them sitting close, heads bent toward each other. The clip would gather millions of views overnight. The drive home. The night didn't end under the roar of music or flashing lights. Instead, it ended in the back seat of a black sedan, Su Kai and Tan Songyun heading home. The trophies were on the seat between them. She reached over, brushed her fingers over the gold surface, and whispered, "Someday, she'll see these. And she'll know what you stood for." He looked at her, the faint reflection of the city lights passing over her face, and replied, "I hope she sees us, not just the trophies." The car rolled through quiet streets, far away from the chaos of the venue, and for the first time that night, Su Kai let himself exhale. The noise was gone, the stage was behind him, but the memory of it, and of her in that ivory gown, would stay forever.